Okay, call this special meeting of City Council to order. Missouri, could you call the roll?
Council President Suzanne Souter,
Here,
Councilperson Joseph Day,
Here.
Councilperson Nervin Zubaka,
Here.
Councilperson Andrew Zelt,
Here.
Councilperson Brian Mataway.
Here.
Also present, City Administrator Antonina Tantillo, City Treasurer James Wisman, City Clerk Finance Coordinator Courtney Taylor.
okay, as usual, we'll start with Ms. Tantillo and she'll give us an update since, all the way since last night.
Yeah, so since last night, based on discussion, we have increased the revenues and expenses by $58,427.03, leaving us with a new balanced budget of $7,027,788.03. And that evens out on both the revenues and expense side. And we also have the grant budget, which balances at $2,455,561.37, leaving us with a total budget of $9,483,349.40.
Okay. Any questions on that from council? Then I think we'll take any public comments from anyone who wishes to speak tonight? No? Okay. Sure.
I remember we talked about the city maps that are standing in front of City Hall. Another location, is that correct? Those big maps?
Yeah.
The wayfinding.
Yeah, we put a thousand, I can't remember which line item it is off the top of my head. But we put it somewhere in here to work on updating that.
Okay.
It was somewhere in like services, I
I
believe.
thought that we added it, but I
Yeah.
just wanted to confirm.
We did. I just can't remember the line that it was in.
That's
But
all.
yes, we did.
Anything else?
I'm sorry, yeah, I did want to just ask one thing. Oh. I will be 3 minutes. You guys will though, if you talk about this a little bit. Rod Miller, East Third Street, yeah, after the meeting last, 3 minutes just isn't. It's just not long enough. You guys really ought to talk about moving it up to at least 5, but anyway. After the meeting, like I said, I was talking with Mr. Day a little bit, and something I probably should have brought up before, but we've never faced tax increases since I've been here before, so I never really bothered. But we're talking about, the rising cost of insurance that we're all feeling. It's just ridiculous. I never, I can't understand it. Well, I understand it, but it's still bizarre to me. But anyway, we were talking a little bit last night about co-ops and about like what are other cities doing besides just saying, oh, well, got to jack up taxes. Didn't there used to be, different municipalities maybe would band together and, try to get coverage, cheaper? Or, are there things like that you've talked about? Has that just been a non-issue, or have you actually talked about possibility of trying to negotiate things, with companies, or trying to, join, something like they have that with healthcare. They used to anyway. I don't know if that's.
Well, our healthcare is through the state. So the general rule is the larger your pool, the lower the individual cost, because you're sharing the risk among a larger number of people, and also the more customers you have or insureds you have more bargaining power with the insurance company. So
you're comfortable that you've
the-
done as much as you can do with
well,
that?
we will try looking into it since the state did go up so much this year. That there was, at the time we were notified of how much, it was too late to start. That's an extensive process. But it is something we're going to look into.
And how about liability coverage? I know that must be going.
Well, we use a state approved vendor for that, right?
Yeah, we use New Hampshire.
We use a local firm for that, yeah, but they're also a state approved vendor.
I have to double check, but yeah.
So
It's worth looking into. I don't know what options are out there because they don't always tell you, you know what I mean? And you have to kind of go digging for that stuff sometimes.
okay, thank
Anyway.
you.
Mr. Miller, to what you said, there's an organization called the Delaware League of Local Governments. And it's a organization of local governments that meet on a monthly basis. And it's a meeting of, municipalities the size of Wilmington down to municipalities that may have 500 people. And so as you can imagine, the scope is scaled, but some of the same concerns are throughout all municipalities. And please know there's definitely meetings about issues and topical issues that face all municipalities, and how can we work together and strategize to create efficiencies.
Okay, Ron, thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? All right, anything else from council on the budget? Is there any further discussion on the ARPA projects and spending? We've approved the additional monies for the new bandstand out of ARPA, and I don't think there were any proposals for anything else at this point, is that right? Okay. And then the next item is discussion of city taxes. There is no proposal. The resolution before us tonight, it includes no tax increase for this current or fiscal 25, the coming fiscal year. We do have a deficit, but we're going to absorb that out of our reserves. That still leaves us all of our ARPA money that's not otherwise appropriated. And it leaves us at least 6 months of routine expenses in reserve. So we feel that leaves us still in a sound, healthy financial position. However, for fiscal 26, we're definitely going to probably have to look at tax increases. But as you probably know, the county's reassessing properties. And we don't know how that's going to affect us because we use the county assessed value. So if the county assessed values go up, if we have to raise it, we may not have to raise the rate as much because we're looking at a target income, not to get to a specific tax rate. We have some questions that I've reached out to the county executive's office to try to get answers to. For example, Mr. Meyer has said that the assessment will be revenue neutral at the county level, which means some assessments are going to go up, some are going to go down, and some are going to stay the same so that the total monies coming into the county are the same. We don't know if that applies to municipalities or not, and that's one of the biggest questions we have. So we decided to, because we had the reserves that could absorb it and still be healthy, we'd wait until we had more information about the reassessment, how it shakes down for Newcastle, which we'll probably know by January or February, which still then gives us time to make a reasonable consideration of where we're going with our taxes. So I don't know if anybody else in council has any comments about that.
Yeah, I think we actually even have more than 6 months. Am I correct?
It's at least 6
Oh, at
months.
least, gotcha, yeah. That was my understanding
I
last night.
mean, I'm just
No,
deducting the
I-
ARPA money
yeah.
too, because I don't consider that as just part of the general pot. That's
Oh, I
more for
see,
special.
I see.
But yeah, if you throw that in there,
Mhm.
definitely we have more than 6 months. But
But-
even without that, we have, if you put that in
Mm-hmm.
reserve, in a separate, keep that aside for special projects, we still have at least 6 months in reserves.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's as good a time as any to, give a general feedback on this process. I want to thank all the council people here for tremendous jobs you guys done, asking the questions, that are tough sometimes, having these conversations about what we as a city want to do, what can we do. So thank you, Antonina, thank you, Courtney, for, hanging in with us with a million requests and, changes last minute. So I appreciate it. I'm sure the rest of the council does too. So, it's not something that, goes unnoticed and, especially being just joining the city. Same with Mr. Rizman, new role as well. So not lack of experience, just, new role, different gig, for sure. But, another thing I want you all to, remember, we don't have all the answers. At least I can say that for myself. But I'm leaning on my colleagues here and, people around me to make a best decision that I can, right? So that's kind of how I form my decision about budget. So to echo what Council President is saying, with all those little factors, some bigger factors, it seems like the best time to revisit taxes is the next year. So it's not a matter of whether it's gonna happen, it's just what that rate change is gonna be next year, because, you know, we are having 1.25 million taken out of reserves this year. It was 400,000 last year. You can already see that is, you know, a significant increase. And just taking out of reserves when needed is okay, right? If you're putting it strategically for that, but, you know, we gotta make sure that we are doing what as a city we want to. And to that end, I also wanted to add that there are some things that we cut even with this budget right now that you're seeing. We have gone through extensive list of things that we wanted to cut. So I think for me personally, that's gonna be something we consider, how we can add those things before we consider the tax rate, because as we're taxing, we want to make sure that all the communities are served same as, you know, so that's one thing. And other thing that we're just talking about contracts, several council members already mentioned about different revenue streams, revisiting contracts, both on expenses for insurance company, for example, but also for, you know, can we look at, you know, what are we getting from MSC, for example? So things like that. So I will, at a minimum, reach out to our, you know, team to see what we can do to minimize that tax impact. But, you know, it's something that, you know, we'll have to, you know, do as a city. So thank you all again, and thank you for public. We had a lot of meetings, so it's difficult to follow all the changes. It's difficult for us to follow, quite frankly. So that's all I have to say.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? Then I'll read the resolution.
Sorry, I just would like, again, like to thank everybody for their efforts. And know that we're doing some really good things this fiscal year coming up. I appreciate everyone for their efforts. For, you know, sometimes we challenged each other, but I think it was for the betterment of the group as a whole. To help us think better, and ultimately it's better for the city. So I thank everyone for their efforts, and I'm excited about what's to come in the future.
Okay, resolution number 2024-22. A resolution to set the 2025 fiscal year tax rate and adopt the 2025 fiscal year general fund budget and grant budget. Whereas the city administrator has presented the proposed fiscal year 2025 general fund and grant budget to city council members, the mayor, and the city treasurer. And whereas the mayor and city council members have advertised and held public meetings to discuss and make appropriate changes to the proposed budgets. And whereas the fiscal year 2025 general fund budget is balanced at $7,027,788.03 and contains proposed wage adjustments for city employees. And whereas the fiscal 2025 grant budget is balanced at $2,455,561.37. And whereas the general budget and the grant budget are to be managed by the city administrator. Now, therefore, it is hereby resolved that this fiscal year 2025 total city budget is adopted at $9,483,349.40. And the resulting tax rate shall be set at $1.2 per $100 of assessed value, reflecting a 0% tax increase from the current fiscal year to the new fiscal year commencing July 1st, 2024. Do I have a motion to approve this resolution?
Motion to approve resolution 2024-22.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion is, or the resolution is adopted. Okay, the final item on our agenda for tonight is the discussion of the new contract bargaining agreement between the city of Newcastle and the Fraternal Order of Police, which has been approved by the department. Is there any discussion from council on this item? Okay, then I'll read this resolution. Resolution number 2024-23. A resolution approving the collective bargaining agreement between the city of Newcastle and the Fraternal Order of Police Lodge Number 1 for the period of July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2028. Whereas the Fraternal Order of Police Lodge Number 1 represents certain uniformed officers of the police department of the city of Newcastle for purposes of collective bargaining within the city of Newcastle, with the city of Newcastle. And whereas the prior collective bargaining agreement between the parties expires on June 30th, 2024. And whereas the parties engaged in good faith bargaining to reach a successful agreement. And now therefore be it resolved that the city of Newcastle hereby approves the collective bargaining agreement negotiated by and between the city and the Fraternal Order of Police Lodge Number 1 for the period of July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2028. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall take effect July 1st, 2024. Is there a motion to approve this resolution?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2024-23.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution's adopted.
And I would like to thank Ms. Pantillo
Oh,
for
yes.
the negotiations and keeping us on track and getting this done. We're in a shortened timetable between the contract and the budget. So I do appreciate all your hard work and thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
And I want to just say something like, I know this was much needed for, public safety. As we're competing with other police departments across the street, so it is a lot probably a larger impact on our budget than anybody would want, but it's something that we need to do in the city. One thing I wanted to highlight and thank Antonina and the council is, we're thinking about extending the contract from 3 years as it was in the past to 4 years. So that gives us a little more time to strategize as a council and city to, figure out different revenues and stuff that can, fill this gap, that we have in our budget and, as the new negotiations come, we'll be, ready and stuff. So thank you guys for your efforts.
that's the two resolutions come to.
For right now.
Is there anything else? Then I hear a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
A second? Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.